In this module, we will learn the procedure that we will construct for the sign test to obtain or to test the assumption about the population median. So students, what we are going to consider under the sign test, the first thing we need to take up is the location parameter. So under the sign test, the location parameter that we'll be taking is the median. So median is the parameter of interest to us. The second thing about sign test is that the data, the variable which we are going to use for the sign test, that is measured at least onto the ordinal scale. The third thing is that sign test may be considered as one-tailed, or we can test the assumption about the population using the sign test for the two-tailed test. For the sign test, we are going to compare the results of the sign test with that of the binomial distribution. Whereas, for a large sample, we will be making use of the normal approximation to the binomial. So students, this is the procedure which we would have to outline for performing the sign test. The first thing for performing the sign test is to construct the pair of hypotheses. So students, agar aap dekhiye, this is the pair of hypotheses we are talking about. H naught, M equals to M naught, and if we take this pair with M not equal to M naught, so this particular pair of hypotheses is known as the two-tailed test. But we can also test the assumption about the median using the one-tailed test. देखिए जैसे यहाँ पे students हमने किया M less than M naught, or we can also test the assumption about the median using the right-tailed test. So in this particular step, we are going to construct the pair of hypotheses. The next step is to specify the level of significance, which is also known as type 1 error. So by rule of thumb, it is being taken as 0.05, but it may be taken as 0.01 or 0.02. Any desired value, because you see, whenever we perform, the researchers perform the experiment, they pre-decide about the level of significance. So whatever kind of level of significance is being given to us, we are going to make use of that. The next thing we'll have to consider is the calculation. So under the calculation, the first thing you would have to do is that when you are given with the sample data, तो आप उसका सबसे पहले median निकालेंगे. मीडियन कैलकुलेट करने के बाद आप मीडियन को सब्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे फ्रॉम every x observation. That means xi, x1, x2, so on up to xn. So जितनी total number of observations हैं आपके पास, उनमें से आप अपने मीडियन को that you have obtained just now, आप उसको सब्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे. सब्ट्रैक्ट करने के बाद आपके पास एक कॉलम आ जाएगा xi minus m का. अब स्टूडेंट्स, ये डिविएशन है एक्चुअली कि ये जो आप एक्साइज को माइनस कर रहे हैं उसकी मीडियन में से, दैट मीन्स इन अदर वर्ड्स आप एक डिविएशन कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं. किसकी डिविएशन? डिविएशन ऑफ द सैम्पल्ड डाटा और द सैम्पल्ड ऑब्जर्वेशंस फ्रॉम दैट ऑफ द मीडियन. सो इसके आंसर्स जो आएंगे वो कुछ नेगेटिव आएंगे और कुछ पॉजिटिव आएंगे. तो यू वुड हैव टू काउंट दोज नेगेटिव्स एंड पॉजिटिव साइंस. So suppose that we let k as a random variable that specifies the number of signs of interest under the given hypothesis, and let k be the observed value of the test statistic. So students, आपको ये करने के बाद k डिटरमिन करने के बाद, जो कि आपके नंबर ऑफ साइंस होंगे, जो दोनों साइंस में से प्लस और माइनस में से जो लीस्ट होंगे, जो कम होंगे, दैट विल बी टेकन एज k. So once you have determined the k, तो आपको ये desired probability calculate करनी है. Probability of capital K, which is your random variable, small k are the values assigned to that capital K, given that n sample size आपको चाहिए और 0.5 0.5 आपका क्या है? That is the proportion of the median, because median by definition is a value below and above which 50% of the data lies. So once you are done with the test statistics, students, आप critical region की तरफ आइए. For a two-tailed test, we will have to reject H0 if a test statistic is less than alpha by 2. Now, why alpha by 2? Because your probability of rejection lies on both of the sides, on the right hand side as well as on to the left hand side. And for a one-tailed test, students will have to reject H0 if test statistic remains less than alpha, because one-tailed tests are directional. The entire probability of rejection either lies on right side or onto the left hand side. So this is the entire procedure that we will construct in order to perform the sign test. And finally, students, I would be showing to you this particular table. Now, what this table is all about? If you just remember, हमने कहा probability k less than equal to k is taking into account the sample size n and p. So students, ये देखिए, आपको टेबल मिलेगा बाइनोमियल का जो आप कंसिडर कर रहे हैं. बाइनोमियल के टेबल में आपको n देखना है और इस साइड पे अगर आप देखिए तो आपको ये साथ p की वैल्यूज भी गिवन होती हैं. So for a particular value of p and n, you are given with desired probabilities. For example, अगर आपका p 0.5 है और आपका n 8 है तो आप ये वैल्यू टेबल में से आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. So in order to find out the value for under the test statistic, you will have to make use of this binomial table. So students, under the sign test, we have learned that in order to apply the sign test for testing a particular value about the median for a single population, we would have to first outline the procedure. If your sample size is good enough, then you will be calculating the desired probability under the test statistics by making use of the binomial table. If you just look into the binomial table में एक साइड पे आपको रो में नजर आते हैं सैम्पल साइजेस और कॉलम्स में आपको probabilities दी होती हैं. So वो P जो है proportion जिसको हम कह रहे हैं, जो हमने अभी कहा कि P 0.5 होगा मीडियन के लिए, तो अगर वो 0.5 है आपकी वैल्यू P की, तो आप उस पर्टिकुलर proportion और जो डिजायर्ड आपका n है, whether 10, whether 12, you can look into the value of the test statistic from within the binomial table. So using that value, you can make a comparison with the critical value, and finally you can choose to reject or accept your null hypothesis for the sign test.